Hello everyone, hope you're doing well, hope you had a lovely weekend, enjoying the sunshine. I've enjoyed it, well, say enjoyed it, I've been in it and I've had a good weekend. Didn't necessarily enjoy the heat though. My Scottish sun does not like this temperature, so I might be looking a little bit pink, just like Declan Rice is. Declan Rice is the topic of today's video, obviously. This is the first video of two. I've got another one later because there's so much to talk about. And because I didn't do very much over the last few days and we need the money, so you gotta do what you gotta do, haven't you? So Declan Rice he's on holiday in Greece at the minute. Don't know if you've seen that video yesterday on social media when he was on the edge of a boat with some of his friends, including Mason Mount. And they're all jumping into the sea off the boat, and Declan decides to ask the fantastic question, is it shallow? Anyway, I think we all know the answer to that one, but The Athletic are reporting today that Declan Rice's price tag has been set at 100 million. That is what West Ham value him at. And the reason I want to talk about it is for two reasons, I guess. One is the other fans' perception. I said the other fans, non-West Ham fans' perception of Declan Rice. Not all of them, but a vast majority. And the second one is what we're going to do. Prediction time, almost, in regards to Declan. So the first one is, the Athletic are saying he's 100 million. And I think this is where it frustrates me a little bit sometimes when I see Chelsea fans and Man United fans saying, well, he's not worth 100 million. That's the point. He might not be worth 100 million to Man United or Chelsea. That might be true. But he's not a Man United or Chelsea player. He's a West Ham United player. So we judge what he's worth to us. We set the price as to what Declan's worth to West Ham. And West Ham say he's worth 100 million to us. He probably is. I don't think that's an unfair value. Is he worth 100 million to Man United or Chelsea? Do you know something? I might even agree with those fans to some extent and say that it probably is a bit expensive for what they need and what they're looking for. However, we're not under any pressure to sell. Well, we might be eventually, but as it stands, we're not looking to get rid of him. We want to keep him, so we're going to overprice him to try and put people off. And if you do pay for him and you pay what is on paper above the odds, happy days. The Harry Maguire is the perfect example. Leicester City had him, didn't want to sell him. Man United wanted him, so they said 80 million. They went over what he was actually worth. Man United paid it. Turns out, I think, when you look back today, I think it was a fair price in the end. He's gone on to prove his worth to Man United and England. He probably is worth 80 million, Harry Maguire. And we're in that situation with Declan now where the vultures are circling a little bit, aren't they? We know about the contract rejection things. So there's a month and a half. The transfer window shuts on the 31st of August. The season kicks off 2 weeks before that as well, which I don't really like. It was always the case, and then they changed it, and then they changed it back. And I don't like it. I think I prefer it when the window shuts before the season kicks off. There is pros and cons, I guess. But one of the cons is when you are someone like West Ham, you're not sure the situation with one of your star players like Declan Rice. If come the 14th, we're obviously going to play him against Newcastle and stuff. But the question will always linger. Does he want to be here or not? Because there's still 2 weeks available to him to move. But anyway, 100 million. So that's what West Ham are asking. That's what the Athletic are saying. I think they're a good source, the Athletic. They're better than mainstream media. They're better than the newspapers. You might get in the nose that are better than the Athletic for each specific club. But in terms of covering all 20 Premier League clubs, I think they're up there with some of the top journalists. And it's not the first time we've heard the 100 million price tag. The question is, would you sell him for 100 million? To me, possibly. I think if he went for 100 million, I wouldn't be too angry. I think I'd understand why West Ham accepted it. I'd understand why Declan wants to go. And I think rarely in a transfer does everybody win. The buying club, the selling club and the player. There's usually someone missing out for whatever reason. And I think in this situation, obviously we'd be losing a top player, but we'd be getting a top B. And as long as we use the money correctly, we can push on from this. We can progress as a football club. And I don't think selling Declan would be the end of the world. He is our best player. He is our most important player. But I don't think he's the hardest player to replace. And that sounds a bit stupid given what I've just said, I know. But I think Thomas Souček would be harder to replace. I think there's less players like Souček in world football that can do the whole box-to-box thing, offers a goal threat from centre midfield as consistently as he does. And I think it would be harder to replace Souček. But I do think Declan is the better player. I think as a defensive midfielder in the Premier League, he's up there. I think him and Ndidi, for me, are the top two. You know, we could put Fabinho in there as well. But he's up there, consistently good, week in, week out. However, there are other players, not just in the UK, outside in European football as well, that can play defensive midfielder well. Can they play as well as Declan Rice? I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm not a football scout, I'm not a football expert. But this is the question to the club, I guess. Have you found a replacement for Declan Rice? Do you know who you would go for should Declan Rice leave? And the answer is yes. Then I don't think there's a lot to be scared of too much. It goes back to what I just said, which is if the money is reinvested correctly and all 100 million is reinvested, that's the issue, isn't it? Because will it be? I'm not too sure about that. We've seen it in the past where players leave for a decent fee at West Ham and we don't spend all the money, or we take a little while. You know, we sold Sebastian Aller back in January, we've still not replaced him yet. You know, the 20 million we got from Ajax is there to be spent in theory. We've still not spent it. 6 months on, it's still sitting there. So that is worry. But the worry for me is the timeline to some extent as well. If Declan was to go, in hypothetically tomorrow, we'd have 6 weeks. We'd have a month and a half to spend the money to get players in, including the replacement for Declan. But you wait till August, you wait till the season kicks off and stuff, you've got hardly any time to get players in, and everybody knows you've got a lot of money to spend as well, which is also dangerous. The asking price, let's say in theory, we went for Matheus Pereira today, and he was valued at 15 million at West Brom. If we sold Declan Rice next week and went to West Brom next week and said, we'll have Matheus Pereira please, there's every possibility they'll turn around and say, well, it's 20 million for you because we know you've got 100 million to spend. That is the big issue. I think the problem, or it's not the problem, my personal worry is it's all very well unofficially saying Declan Rice is 100 million, because I do believe that's what the club's doing. I believe, and this is just an opinion, that the 100 million is coming from the club. It is basically our way of saying that is what he is. We will sell him, but he's 100 million. And in football and everything else in life, really, you ask for 70 million, they'll offer you 50. So I think it's fair to say 100 million with the expectation that they may offer 70, 75 million or something. Chelsea nor Man United are going to come in and offer exactly what we want for Declan, certainly not the first bid. It would take a while to get this sorted, kind of thing. And my worry is the timeline. My worry is that if we were to sell him this summer, the ideal time is essentially now, isn't it? The sooner the better, so you can get those replacements in. And then the second worry would be getting the replacements in, because we've already been not dragging our feet so much in this transfer window, but to some extent we are. It doesn't feel that we're making much progress in the transfer market this summer. And you can't, I know people say, well, the window's got a while to go, so on and so forth, but that's right, there is 6 weeks. But the season doesn't start in 6 weeks. The season starts in 3.5, 4 weeks. You know, we have Newcastle on the 14th of August, not the 31st of August. You want to get your players in early. Moyes is spoken, or allegedly wanted the players in early in pre-season to get them ready for the Newcastle game. Well, that's not happened. That can't happen. It's done now. It's the pre-season well underway. It's done. We've already failed to get the players in ahead of the new season. So it's now about what we're going to do. And the big issue, or if you want, is around Declan Rice, because what we're going to do with him, it's a situation that he's dealt with, and the 100 million price tag I think is the first step in doing that. And like I said, I do believe it's the club's way of saying that is what we want. The next question is, will anyone pay it? I'm not convinced. Man United are obviously signing Jadon Sancho, look like they're going ahead with Rafael Varane as well, so you don't see them spending too much money. That's where we look at Stamford Bridge. I think that is the only destination for Declan this summer should he depart West Ham. And if he doesn't, fantastic. We have our best player for another at least 5-6 months until the January transfer window opens, and it's unlikely that we'd see any major transfer business done then. So we can. I think it's fair to assume we'd have him for the season should he be here beyond the 1st of September. But this 100 million price tag thing, it feels like the club are getting ready to play a game of chicken. It feels like the club are starting to say, right, okay, let's face the possibility head on that we may lose Declan Rice this summer. Let's get ahead of the game a little bit. And I have to say, I'm not against it. I've always been critical of the club that whenever there's rumour, even just transfer speculation around one of our main players, whether it's Arnautovic, it's a deal a couple of years ago, Dimitri Payet, the club seem to go into this panic mode and they issue this message of hands off, he's not for sale, so on, and it's just not true, is it? Every player is for sale, including Declan this summer. They want Declan, they will get him. As Chelsea want Declan Rice, they will get Declan Rice. It's just a case of how much. Do I want Declan to go? Not really, of course I don't, but like I said, I've come round to the idea that he's going to go eventually, and I do worry that our budget this summer is maybe not as big as we were first led to believe at the end of last season. And the question then comes, well, where's the money going to come from? Possibly the sale of Declan Rice, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. That's my thoughts on it. I just saw that 100 million thing. It was more of a grievance in regards to the other fans saying, well, he's not worth 100 million. I just thought, well, you're possibly correct, but you don't judge his price. He's worth 100 million to West Ham. That's his price. Chelsea want him. That's what they're going to have to pay. Will Sullivan manage to hold out for that? We'll wait and see. There's plenty. This Declan Rice thing is not going away anytime soon, and it will remain until either the window shuts or he leaves West Ham. Simple as that. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe new around here, and I'll catch you in a bit with the pink book. The pink book is coming out later with the Transfer Rumours show. I'll catch you in a bit.